Having seen the murder of Lord Rama, sat down silently on the ground under a nearby pipala tree. People tree, maybe pipala, or then Bibrat Chaturbhujam Rupam Brajishnu Prabhaya Svaya Disho Vitimira Kurvan Vidhuma Ivapavaka Srivatsankam Ghanashyamam Taptahatakavarchasam Kausheyambara Yugmena Parivitam Parivitam Sumangalam Sundarasmita Vaktrabjam Neelakuntala Manditam Pundarikabhiramaksham Sfuran Makarakundalam Katisutra Brahmasutra Kirita Katakangadai Haranupuramudrabhi Kaustubhena Virajitam Vanamala Paritangam Murtimadbhir Nijayudhai Kritvorau Dakshine Padam Asinam Pankajarunam. The Lord was exhibiting his brilliantly effulgent four-armed form, the radiance of which, just like a smokeless fire, dissipated the darkness in all directions. His complexion was the color of a dark blue cloud, and his effulgence the color of molten gold, and his all auspicious form bore the mark of Srivatsa. A beautiful smile graced his lotus face. Locks of dark blue hair adorned his head. His lotus eyes were very attractive, and his shark-shaped earrings glittered. He wore a pair of silken garments, an ornamental belt, the sacred thread, bracelets, and arm ornaments, along with a helmet, the Kaustuba jewel, necklaces, anklets, and other royal emblems. Encircling his body were flower garlands and his personal weapons in their embodied forms. As he sat, he held his left foot with its lotus red sole upon his right thigh. So that is why it looked like a deer, because he was resting. I was wondering how can a hunter look at the sole of a foot and think it's a deer? Because he was sitting with his he held his left foot upon his right thigh. So that is why it looked like a deer, the foot like the face, and that too reddish lotus feet. And then the foot was, I mean, the leg was looking like a deer's back. So very nice description of Lord Krishna. And it's saying he was in his four-armed form, the radiance of which, just like a smokeless fire, dissipated the darkness in all directions. So where there is Krishna, there is no darkness. So like fire which burns brightly without any smoke, and then it removes the darkness in all directions. And then with all his regular, beautiful things, Srivatsa, Kaustubha, and his lotus eyes were very attractive, and his shark-shaped earrings glittered. He wore a pair of silken garments, ornamental belt, the sacred thread, bracelets, and arm ornaments, along with a helmet, the Kaustuba jewel, necklaces, anklets, and other royal emblems. So that is how so beautifully he was sitting there. Mushala Vasesha ya Kanda Kriteshur Lubda Kojara Mrigayas Yakaram Tacharanam Vivyada Mrigasang Shankaya. Just then, a hunter named Jara, who had approached the place, mistook the Lord's foot for a deer's face. Thinking he had found his prey, Jara pierced the foot with his arrow, which he had fashioned from the remaining iron fragment of Samba's club. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, the statement that the arrow pierced the Lord's foot expresses the point of view of the hunter, who thought that he had struck a deer. In fact, the arrow merely touched the Lord's lotus feet, and did not pierce it, since the Lord's limbs are composed of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Otherwise, in the description of the next verse, that the hunter became fearful and fell down with his head upon the Lord's feet, Sukadeva Goswami would have stated that he extracted his arrow from the Lord's foot. So the Lord is not made up of, sometimes, of course, for the sake of Leela, blood also comes, like how Nityananda, when Jagai struck him with a pot, then blood started coming. That is just for, you know, so that people get very disturbed and they'll go and call Lord Chaitanya. That's why he did that. Otherwise, what? There is no blood and all that. So here, Krishna's lotus feet was there, and the arrow, it just brushed past, or even if it went through, it is not made of flesh and blood and all those things. So, um, in fact, the arrow merely touched the Lord's lotus feet and did not pierce it. Since the Lord's limbs are composed of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, it's impossible. Sometimes just for Leela, he acts, even the Asuras beat him on the chest and all that. Of course, he ducks and he never gets beaten like that. But here also, there was no blood coming out, or that, he had to remove the arrow from his foot. All that didn't happen. चतुर्भुजं तं पुरुषं दृष्ट्वा सकृतकिल्बिष भीतपापात् पपात शिरसा पादयोरसुरदृश. Then seeing that four-armed personality, the hunter became terrified of the offense he had committed, and he fell down, placing his head upon the feet of the enemy of the demons. Just imagine how he would have felt. First of all, okay, mistaking that it was not deer, he had, which he fashioned from the remaining iron fragment of Samba's club. So this particular thing, the iron club, everything, they had made it because of Ugrasena, King Ugrasena's instructions. They had pounded, made that whole iron thing ball which had appeared in Samba's abdomen. Wherever he had concealed it. He had concealed some clothes or pillow or something, and he was standing, and that whole thing became iron. And then King Ugrasena said that we'll powder it nicely and put it in the ocean. And those powders, only each powder became one uh, cane which grew there. But then there was one lump was remaining, and that fell into the ocean, and a fish ate it. So it went into its mouth, and then that was found by this Jara, and he used that lump in order to make his arrow. And with that arrow, because that same curse came upon Krishna also as the Yadu, so that iron club was used to also was a cause for his leaving this world. So Hunter, of course, he didn't know, he didn't purposely do it, but still, you can imagine how, if you have committed such an offense to the Lord, how he would feel. Ajanat, ajanata kritam idam papena madhusudana kshantum arhasi papasya uttama shlokame naga. Jara said, "Oh Lord Madhusudana, I'm a most sinful person. I've committed this act out of ignorance. O purest Lord, O Uttama Shloka, please forgive this sinner." So he's calling him Madhusudana, means one who kills Madhu, the demon. So he's also putting himself, oh, I'm like a demon and you can kill me. I'm a most sinful person. I've committed this act out of ignorance. O purest Lord, O Uttama Shloka, please forgive this sinner. This sort of thing you can only ask Krishna. We keep on doing all nonsense offenses towards him. And yet we know any time we can go and beg forgiveness, and Krishna very lovingly is ready to forgive us. Provided, of course, we are really sincere about it. and we don't want to repeat it again. Yasyanusmaranam drinam अज्ञानध्वान्तनाशनं वदन्ति तस्य ते विष्णु मया साधु कृतं प्रभो. O Lord Vishnu, the learned say that for any reason, any man, constant remembrance of you will destroy the darkness of ignorance. O Master, I've wronged you. Yat patit yat smaret pundarikaksham bahyam abhyantara suchihi. Yeah, just by remembering Pundarikaksha, inside and outside, everything gets purified. Even if we are apavitro, pavitrova, whether we are very impure or pure, it doesn't matter. Yasmarit Pundarikaksha, Bahya Abhyantara Suchihi. Everything becomes pure. Tanmasu Jahi Vaikunta, Pap Papmanam Vrigalubdakam, Yata Punar Aham Tvaevam Nakuryam Sad Atikramam. Therefore, O Lord of Vaikunta, please kill this sinful hunter of animals immediately, so he may not again commit such offenses against saintly persons. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura explains that the fratricidal battle of the Yadu dynasty and the hunters' attack upon Lord Krishna are clearly activities of the Lord's internal potency for the purpose of fulfilling the Lord's pastime desires. According to the evidence, the quarrel among the members of Yadu dynasty occurred at sunset. Then the Lord sat down on the bank of the Saraswati river. It is stated that a hunter then arrived with the intention of killing a deer, but it is highly unlikely when more than 560 million warriors had just been killed in a great uproarious battle and the place had been flooded with blood and strewn with corpses, that a simple hunter would somehow come along trying to kill a deer. Since deer are by nature fearful and timid, how could any deer possibly be on the scene of such a huge battle? And how could a hunter calmly go about his business in the midst of such carnage? Therefore, the withdrawal of the Yadu dynasty and Lord Krishna's own disappearance from this earth were not material historical events. They were instead a display of the Lord's internal potency for the purpose of winding up his manifest pastimes on earth. Imagine 560 million warriors, all the Yadus who had come there, they fought, and everybody finished, all strewn, their bodies were lying around. And why will a hunter come there to search for deer? And how will he even imagine that a deer will appear in such a place? So it is all simply Krishna wanted to finish off this Leela, and everything was arranged by him. Yasyatma yoga rachitam na vidurvirincho rudradayosya tanaya patayogirim ye tvanmayaya pihita drishtaya etad anja kim tasyate vayam asad gatayo grinima. Neither Brahma nor his sons, said it by Rudra, nor any of the great sages or masters of the Vedic mantras can understand the function of your mystic power. Because your illusory potency has covered their sight, they remain ignorant of how your mystic power works. Therefore, what can I, such a low-born person, possibly say? So obviously, I mean, Jara, he is not the ordinary hunter. He is aware, he's a devotee, and he's also under the internal energy. And that's why he did it. And he's saying, so nobody can know through Vedic mantras. I mean, those who are masters of the Vedic mantras can also not understand how Krishna operates through his mystic power. Because your illusory potency has covered their sight, they remain ignorant of how your mystic power works. Therefore, what can I, such a low-born person, possibly say? See, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Ma Ma bhair tvam uttishta kama esha kruto hi me yahi tvam mad anugnata swargam sukir kritinam padam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Jara, do not fear. Please get up. What has been done is actually my own desire. With my permission, go now to the abode of the pious, the spiritual world." So it was all, he was just an instrument, just like Kaikeyi also was an instrument in Rama's scheme of things. He wanted to go to Dandakaranya. He wanted some situation by which he'll be forced to leave. And so he made, actually, Kaikeyi is very, very dear devotee of his. And then he used her to do. And similarly, Jara somehow, actually, here it's not mentioned why he made Jara do this. Why was he? But obviously, from other places, we know that he is actually an incarnation of Vali. And he was taking his, he probably wanted to do that. He wanted to also take revenge by killing from behind. And but anyway, he was purified. He was killed by Rama himself. So naturally, he was already liberated. So instructed by the Supreme Lord Krishna, iti adishto bhagavata krishne krishnenechha sharirina tri parikramyatam natva vimanena divam yayau. So instructed by the Supreme Lord Krishna, who assumes his transcendental body by his own will, the hunter circumambulated the Lord 3 times and bowed down to him. Then the hunter departed in an airplane that had appeared just to carry him to the spiritual sky. All this is evidence that it was not an ordinary event of, really a hunter striking on Krishna and then Krishna leaving his body. And because of that, because he went back to Godhead. Daruka Krishna Padavim Anvichan Adhigamyatam Vayum Tulasi Kamodham Agraya Bimukam Yayau. At that time, Daruka was searching for his master Krishna. As he neared the place where the Lord was sitting, he perceived the aroma of tulasi flowers in the breeze and went in its direction. Tam tatra tigma dyubir ayudhairvritam hi ashvattamule kritaketanam patim sneha plutatma Snehaplutatma Nipapatu Padayo Rathad Avaplutya Bhaspalochana. Upon seeing Lord Krishna resting at the foot of a banyan tree, surrounded by shining weapons, Daruka could not control the affection he felt in his heart. His eyes filled with tears as he rushed down from the chariot and fell at the Lord's feet. अपश्यतस्त्वच्चरणाम्बुजं प्रभो दृष्टि प्रणष्ट तमसि प्रविष्टा दिशो न जाने न लबे च शान्तिं यथा निशायाम उडुपे pranashte. Daruka said, just as on a moonless night, people are merged into darkness and cannot find their way. Now that I've lost sight of your lotus feet, my Lord, I've lost my vision and I'm wandering blindly in darkness. I cannot tell my direction, nor can I find any peace. So he had obviously become estranged. I mean, maybe during the war, Daruka lost sight of Krishna. And so he's telling that I'm just wandering blindly in darkness. I cannot tell in my direction, nor can I find any peace. So without Krishna, there's no question of peace. And the minute Krishna comes, one becomes fully satisfied. Iti bruvati sute vai rato garuda lanchana kam utpapata rajendra Shashvat Dhvaja Udikshata. Sukhdev Goswami continued, O foremost of the kings, while the chariot driver was still speaking, before his very eyes, the Lord's chariot rose up into the sky, along with horses and its flag, which was marked with the emblem of Garuda. So this is most unique and special way that the Lord left the world. So I don't know how these atheistic people can say all nonsense that his body and his material body was left behind and all that. Lord's chariot rose up in the sky along with its horses and its flag. Tam anvagachan divyani Vishnu praharanani cha tenati vismitamanam sutam aha janardana. All the divine weapons of Vishnu rose up and followed the chariot. The Lord Janardana then spoke to his chariot driver, who was most astonished to see all this. Gacha dvaravatim suta jnatinam nidanam mita shankar shankarshanasya niryanam bandhubhyo bruhi dasham. O driver, go to Dwaraka and tell our family members how their loved ones destroyed one another. Also tell them of the disappearance of Lord Sankarshana and of my present condition. Lord Krishna, oh, Lord Krishna sent his chariot, driverless, back to Vaikunta along with the horses and weapons because the chariot driver Daruka had some final service to do on earth. Dwarakayam cha nasteyam bhavadbhischa svabharudbihi maya tyaktam yadupurim samudra plavayishyati. You and your relatives should not remain in Dwaraka, the capital of the Yadus, because once I've abandoned that city, it will be inundated by the ocean. Actually, Krishna created Dwaraka from the ocean. And so when he left, he wanted to he wanted the city to disappear. Swam parigham so he is warning that everyone should leave Dwaraka because he is going to drown it. Swam parigraham sarve adhaya pitarauchana arjunena vita sarva indraprastham gamishyata. You should all take your own families together with my parents and under Arjuna's protection go to Indraprastha. Tvam tumad dharmam astaya jnananishta upekshaka manmaya rachitam etam vignayopasa pasanam pasamam vraja. You, Daruka, should be firmly situated in devotion to me, remaining fixed in spiritual knowledge and unattached to material considerations, understanding these pastimes to be a display of my illusory potency. You should remain peaceful. But according to Srila Jeev Goswami, the word tu here emphasizes that Dharuka is an eternally liberated associate of Lord Krishna, having descended from Vaikunta. Therefore, even though others might be bewildered by the Lord's pastimes, Dharuka should remain peaceful and fixed in spiritual knowledge. Iti uktastam parikramya namaskritya punah punah tat padau shirshni upadhaya durmana prayayau purim. Thus ordered, Daruka circumambulated the Lord and offered obeisances to him again and again. He placed Lord Krishna's lotus feet upon his head and then with a sad heart went back to the city. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 11th canto, 30th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Disappearance of the Yadu Dynasty. The next chapter we're going to see how Krishna is going to disappear. So he sent away his chariot to the Vaikunta world and all the weapons. And he sent the driver, Daruka, to Dwaraka and to tell all the other remaining family members, all the ladies, they're all there, and the elderly people and the children, that they should go with Arjuna to Indraprastha. And he said nobody should stay in Dwarka because he's going to drown it. He's going to make the sea come over it and take it away. The disappearance of Lord Sri Krishna. This chapter describes the return of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to his own abode along with all the Yadus. Upon learning from Daruka that Lord Sri Krishna had returned to his abode, Vasudeva and all others remaining in Dwaraka became very much agitated by lamentation and went out from the city to find him. All the demigods who, in pursuance of the desire of Lord Krishna, had taken birth in the Yadu dynasty to render assistance in his pastimes, followed Lord Krishna and returned to their respective abodes. The Lord's activities of creating a life for himself and then dismantling it are simply tricks of Maya, like an actor's performance. Actually, he creates the entire universe and then he enters within it as the supersoul. In the end, he again winds up the entire universe within himself and remaining in his private glory, does this from external pastimes. Though overcome by feelings of separation from Krishna, Arjuna was nevertheless able to pacify himself by remembering all the various instructions given to him by the Lord. Arjuna then carried out the rituals of offering pinda and so on for his dead relatives. At that time, the ocean swallowed up all the Dwarakapuri except for the Lord's own residence. Arjuna took the remaining members of the Yadu dynasty to Indraprastha, where he installed Vajra upon the throne. Vajranab, yes. And hearing of these events, the Pandavas, led by Yudhishthira, placed Parikshit upon their throne and left for the great journey. Pandavas also, they were not attached to the kingdom or anything. Once Krishna has left, then what is their purpose? They also left. And the other Indraprastha is that part, Mathura and that part. And Hastinapura is Delhi, I suppose. So he put Vajranab as the king over there and Parikshit Maharaj here in Hastinapur. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atatatragamad Brahma Bhavanyacha Samambhava Mahendra Pramukha Deva Munaya Sa Prajeshwara. Sukadeva Goswami said, then Lord Brahma arrived at Prabhasa along with Lord Shiva and his consort, the sages, the Prajapatis, and all the demigods, headed by Indra. Pitara Siddha Gandharva Vidyadhara Mahoraga Charana Yakshara Kshamsu Kinnara Parasu Kinnarapsarosu Dvija Drashtukama Bhagavato Niryanam Paramotsuka Gayantascha Grinantascha Saure Karmani Janmacha. The forefathers, Siddhas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, and great serpents also came, along with the Charanas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Kinnaras, Apsaras, and relatives of Garuda, greatly eager to witness the departure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As they were coming, all these personalities variously chanted and glorified the birth and activities of the Lord, of Lord Sauri or Krishna. So the entire universe, all the people came here to watch Krishna. Vavrishu Pushpa Varshani Vimanavali Birnabha Kurvanta Sankulam Rajan Bhaktya Paramaya Yuta. O king, crowding the sky with their many airplanes, they showered down flowers with great devotion. Bhagavan Pitamaham Vikshya Vibhutir Atmano Vibhu Samyojyatmani Chatmanam Padmanetre Nyamilayat. Seeing before him seeing before him Brahma, the grandfather of the universe, along with the other demigods who are all his personal and powerful expansions. The Almighty Lord closed his lotus eyes, fixed his mind within himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hmm. According to Srila Sridhara Swami, Lord Krishna had previously answered the prayers of Lord Brahma and other demigods who had requested the Lord to descend within this universe for the protection of his servants, the demigods. Now the demigods arrived before the Lord, each one desiring to take the Lord to his own planet. To avoid these innumerable social obligations, the Lord closed his eyes as if absorbed in samadhi. Srila Jiva Goswami adds that Lord Krishna closed his eyes to instruct the yogis how to leave this mortal world without attachment to one's mystic opulences. All the demigods, including Brahma, are mystic expansions of Lord Krishna, and yet the Lord closed his eyes to emphasize that one should fix one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead when departing from this world. So all of them wanted him to come to their planet, Brahmaloka, Shivaloka, Vidyadhara, Kinnaras, everyone. So he didn't want, I mean, then he'll have had to go to every place and stay with them. He didn't want all that. He wanted to go back to God and to his own place. So that is the best way. Just close your eyes and chant. And he was as if absorbed in samadhi. And in the same way, Jiva Goswami adds that yogis normally think about Krishna when leaving this world. But if they are attached to something, then their eyes will be open and their mind will be wandering. So basically, yogis are attached to what? Their mystic opulences. So he is telling them that you should not be attached. All the demigods, including Brahma, are mystic expansions of Lord Krishna. So their mystic power they have, and these are all manifestations of Krishna's mystic power, Brahma and all the other devatas. And even though they had come in front of him, the Lord closed his eyes. He was not attached to all those his mystic expansions, and instead he meditated upon himself and went to the Vaikuntha world. लोकाभिरामं स्वतनुं धारणा ध्यानमङ्गलं योगधारण धारण याज्ञेय दग्ध्वा त्यक्त्वा धामाविसत्स्वकम्. Without employing the mystic agents Agni meditation to burn up his transcendental body, which is the all attractive resting place of all the worlds and the object of all contemplation and meditation, Lord Krishna entered into his own abode. So, without employing the mystic, okay, let's see the purport. A yogi empowered to select the moment of leaving his body can cause it to burst into flames by engaging in the yogic meditation called Agneyi, and thus he passes into his next life. The demigods similarly employ this mystic fire when being transferred to the spiritual world. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely different. Um, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely different from conditioned souls like yogis and demigods, since the Lord's eternal spiritual Loka Biramam, because his spiritual body is the source of all existence, as indicated here by the words um, Here by the words Lokabhiramam Swatanum. Lord Krishna's body is the source of pleasure for the entire universe. The word Dharana Dhyana Mangalam indicates that those trying for spiritual elevation through meditation and yoga achieve all auspiciousness through through meditation on the Lord's body. Since yogis are liberated, yogis are liberated simply by thinking of Lord Krishna's body. That body is certainly not material and therefore not subject to burning by mundane mystic fire or any other type of fire. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura reminds us of Lord Krishna's statement in the 11th Canto, chapter 14, verse 37. Vahni madhye smare drupam mamaita dhyana mangalam. Within the fire, one should meditate upon my form, which is the auspicious object of all meditation. Since Lord Krishna's transcendental form is present within fire as the maintaining principle, how can fire affect that form? Thus, although the Lord appeared to enter the mystic yoga trance, the word adgad Adagdva indicates that the Lord, since his body is purely spiritual, bypassed the formality of burning and directly entered his own abode in the spiritual sky. This point has also been elaborately explained by Srila Jiva Goswami in his commentary to this verse. So this is how Krishna left, not in the way that people explain, that he died and he left his body and all that. So he didn't like the yogis, just like Sati burnt herself up. They burned the body. But here Krishna did not do that because his body is the all attractive resting place of all the worlds. Now, where's the question of burning it? And the object of all contemplation and meditation, Lord Krishna entered into his own abode. So the yogis as well as the demigods who are going back to the spiritual world, they are able to do that. They create that fire so that their physical form, this material form gets burnt and their Atma go back to Godhead. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely different from conditioned souls. And so, what did he do? He did not do like the yogis and demigods. And the word Dharana Dhyana Mangalam indicates that those trying for spiritual elevation through meditation and yoga achieve all auspiciousness through meditation on the Lord's body, right? Dharana and Dhyana is the preliminary stages of Samadhi, where one tries to meditate on the Supreme Lord, and that body is certainly not material and therefore not subject to burning by mundane mystic fire or any other type of fire. And also, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura is saying that the Lord is inside the fire. Within the fire, one should meditate upon my form, which is the auspicious object of all meditation. Right, in the 11th canto, chapter 14, we saw. And actually, when the yajna is happening very nicely, we've seen Krishna's form in the fire. That's amazing. So Krishna is in the form in fire. So how can fire burn him? How can fire affect that? Thus, although the Lord appeared to enter the mystic yoga trance, the word Adagdva indicates that the Lord, since his body is purely spiritual, bypassed the formality of burning and directly entered his own abode in the spiritual sky. So he never left back any material body and all that. And this is not what Sukadeva Goswami is saying. Divi dundubayone du petus sumanasi chakhat satyam dharmo dhritir bhume kirti shris chanutam yayu. As soon as Lord Krishna left the earth, then truth, religion, faithfulness, glory, and beauty immediately followed him. Kettle drums resounded in the heavens and the flowers showered from the sky. Imagine all these things went along with them: truth, religion, faithfulness, glory, and beauty immediately went with him. According to Srila Sridhara Swami, all the demigods were jubilant because each one thought that Lord Krishna was coming to his own planet. They came to invite him to their planet, and Krishna, he avoided it by closing his eyes so that he doesn't have to say anything. He had no intention. And then, if he kept his eyes open and they all invited him, that would be very embarrassing. And so they thought that because they had a strong desire that Krishna should come to their planet, so they didn't imagine that, he'll just leave without coming there. Devadayo Brahma Mukhya na Vishantam Swadhamani Avijnata Gatim Krishnam Dadrashuschati Vismita. Most of the demigods and other higher beings led by Brahma could not see Lord Krishna as he was entering his own abode, since he did not reveal his movements. But some of them did catch sight of him, and they were extremely amazed. So, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasmi Tatvatah. Only a devotee can understand him because Krishna reveals himself. So, what we see and what we understand is all dependent on Krishna's revealing to us. So, most of the demigods and other higher beings led by Brahma could not see Lord Krishna as he was entering his own abode. But some of them did catch sight of him, and they were extremely amazed. Saudhamanya yatakashe yantya hitva brahmandalam gatirna lakshyate mrityais tata krishnasya daivatai. Just as ordinary men cannot ascertain the path of a lightning bolt as it leaves a cloud, the demigods could not trace out the movements of Lord Krishna as he returned to his abode. The sudden movements of a lightning bolt are seen by the demigods, but not by human beings. Similarly, the sudden departure of Lord Krishna could be understood by the Lord's intimate associates in the spiritual sky, but not by the demigods. So, Brahmarudradhayaste tu drishtva yoga gatim hare vishmitastam prasam santa swam swam lokam yayustada. A few of the demigods, however, notably Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, could ascertain how the Lord's mystic power was working, and thus they became astonished. All the demigods praised the Lord's mystic power and then returned to their own planets. Although the demigods are virtually omniscient within this universe, they could not understand the movements of Lord Krishna's mystic potency. Thus they were astonished. So within this universe, devatas are everywhere and they are aware. For example, Lord Shiva is aware of everything that is happening in this universe. So, but not of the spiritual world. All the They could not understand the movements of Lord Krishna's mystic potency. Thus they were astonished. Rajan Parasya Tanu Bridge. Oh no, we will stop here because it's a long purport. So we see how how people create their own theories. The Lord didn't leave like that, left his body, and then what is that thing? They took out the heart. What all stories? Why people create such stories, we don't know. Bhagavatam is the reference point, and here it's totally different. He just closed his eyes and he left. And they didn't even know. Using his mystic power, he just left to the spiritual abode. He didn't leave behind any body. And for a heart, and then burnt. What all offensive things it is. I don't know why they didn't refer to the scripture. So now it's very clear for us. All these stories about the heart being taken. Heart, anyway, the heart is where the soul resides. So if they are taking the Jagannath Ji's heart and putting it into another this thing, that's quite an order. It doesn't have to be the heart of Krishna. Why like that? I mean, it is prana pratishta whenever you do of the deity. Krishna personally comes and stays there. So if you want to do prana pratishta of another wood, I mean, another form, taking, because they want a new this thing, so they just do that. For that you don't need to, maybe they are taking something, Krishna's, that maybe is Leela, they're doing prana pratishta to the next Jagannath deity. So for that, why did they have to concoct all this? The heart was floating and somebody found the heart and put it in the log, or I don't know. Really, sometimes people have vivid imagination. So now it's very clear how this Mosala Leela, how it happened. So we don't have to feel bad. There's nothing horrible happening. His foot did not bleed. Neither did he give up his body. I don't know why devotees think like that. I think mostly people don't read this part, end of 11th canto, even 12th canto, which we are going to be doing. Normally people stop with 10th canto only. It's not so much read. And that's where nobody knows the Mausala Leela of Krishna. Here it's very clear what happened. It is not at all like what people imagine. I mean, from the mundane people, what they talk about. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay. Then we go for prayers. We pray for His Holiness Jaitak Swami's complete recovery and good health and protection from all longevity and protection from all diseases. Also protection for all His servants. And we pray for all of Prabhupada's disciples and also all our devotees and their families. And then we pray for rain for Karnataka, should happen soon. And we pray for all peace and harmony and prosperity all throughout India and also rest of the world. So let us chant 3 times Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare.
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Okay, then we pray for who's that person? Yesterday we prayed that Mataji, which Vasantraga Mataji mentioned.
Yeah, Mataji, maybe my daughter, Hare
Yes,
Krishna
yes,
Mataji, I'm
yes,
Damodara.
correct.
Hiranyada Mataji, Hiranyada.
Yeah, Hiranyada. How is she now?
Mataji, we are using that Ayurveda. We took her to Ayurveda doctor and he has given some medicine for, 8.4 mm stone to melt. No, he has given medicine. He said 15 days it will take to get completely cured. In between, she's getting sometimes pain, Mataji, because stone is already inside. No, sometimes when it is moving in the blood, some pain will be there. She's using the medicines, Mataji. They gave some oil to apply on the left kidney outer side. So that's the thing, Mataji.
Okay. He is
And
sure now
tomorrow she
that
has
she
the
will be
last
cured.
exam. That last exam will be there tomorrow, so that she will complete and she can take rest at home for 10 days.
Okay, we pray for Hiranyada speedy recovery and good health, and so that it doesn't keep repeating like this. Is fully cured. And okay, then we pray for Venkata Madhuri for her speedy recovery. We pray for Srinivas Prabhu's speedy recovery and complete recovery, and also Radhika Mataji's speedy and complete recovery. We pray for Venkatpati Prabhu's speedy recovery and good health. And we pray for Neeraja Mataji also for her speedy recovery and good health, and also for Narmada Mataji and Chandana Mataji speedy recovery and good health. And we pray for Alukya Mataji to get a very nice, healthy and Krishna conscious child. And we pray for baby Radhesh's Krishna conscious progress. We pray for Prasanna Revati Mataji's parents and brothers, good health, well-being, and Krishna conscious progress. We pray for Krishna conscious progress for Vrinda, Narayani, Uday Bhaskar Prabhu, Ditya, Devesh, Radhika, and Anant. And we pray that all the students do well, very well in their exams, board exams and other exams. And we pray for the job for Shrikant, Naveen Prabhu, and Balaji. And we pray for the good health, well-being, and Krishna conscious progress of Neelangani Mataji, Neelamadhu Prabhu, and Neeraj. And we pray for Ushasri Mataji's speedy recovery, and that Nagna Jiti Mataji's husband should get back all the dues. And we pray for Touchstone School and Kidzin School should do very well. Then we pray for Sarvavandya Mataji and complete and speedy recovery, and also for her daughter Janava and her mother, good health and speedy recovery. And we pray for Vasanti Mataji's speedy recovery, Anukampa Mataji's mother's speedy recovery, and then Vidya Swarupani Mataji's father, Rangavali Mataji's father, Tarak Sankirtan Prabhu's Tarak Sankirtan Prabhu, and also for his brother Lalit Sharma and Aunt Chandrakala Mataji, and Krishna Mata Yeshomati Mataji's speedy recovery and good health. And we pray for all auspicious blessings upon Divashri Janava, her brother and mother. And we pray for Sakhi Kalavati Mataji's speedy recovery and all auspicious blessings on her, on Neetu and Monu and Unni and Radhikanath Prabhu and his wife Vrindavan. And we pray for Krishna conscious progress, speedy Krishna conscious progress for what's the name? Vinod Prabhu and family, Tarak Sankirtan Prabhu and family, Anukampa Mataji and family, Advait Prabhu and family, Pranav, Ravi Tej, Kavya Mataji and family, then Vaibhva Mataji and family, Sukkar Prabhu and family, then Vidya Swarupni Mataji's parents, and Pratibha Mataji and family, Sini Mataji and family, Disha Mataji and family, Radhika Mataji and family, Radha Mataji and family, and Preeti Purna Chitra Mataji and family, Mansi Mataji and family, Pradeep and Anand, and Abhishek Prabhu's good health as well as Krishna conscious progress. And we pray for jobs for Kenny Prabhu, then Jitendra Prabhu and Shobha Maya Mataji's husband, and also for Pratibha Mataji to get a nice job within Bangalore itself. And then we also pray for Adara Center. We should have a grand Gaura Purnima celebration in the new center. And we also pray for the preaching success of Lingraj Dham and as well as Srila Prabhupada Dham. And also we pray for mercy and blessings of Guru Maharaj upon all the 20 initiates who will be taking initiation soon for this, for their
Today they
contribution.
are traveling, Mataji. Hare Krishna. They are traveling. So morning flight they went.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayapur, Mataji. So for the same journey and everything there.
Okay. So yeah, let us chant for everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare Hare.
Rama, Rama Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Ram Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Granth Raj ki jai.
Right.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namananda koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Nam Mataji.
Then who's that?
Gifted my humble says Mataji.
Yeah.